Hello, everybody. My name's Phil Orr. I'm the co-CEO and chief mentor of 25eight, and I'm here today with two wonderful people who I'll actually get them to introduce themselves as well, if that's okay. Start with Matt, maybe.
G'day everyone, my name's Matt Jacobson. I'm the founder and CEO of Ducere Global Business School and excited to be chatting to everyone about this fantastic collaboration.
Hi everyone, and my name's Tal Shubal and I work with Ducere Global Business School, and I've been working with Phil probably for the better part of a year now, just really working on a very interesting collaborative partnership, which today is going to be kind of our first look into that. So I will bring it back to Phil to kind of talk a little bit about 25eight, and then we'll have Matt chat a little bit about Ducere and the kind of history behind the company, and then we'll really just talk back again about how we've come together to provide these MBA pathways. Thanks so much, Phil.
Thanks, Tal. So yeah, I just wanted to sort of just give a little bit of an explanation about how all this came together and how exciting it is. So I'm talking on behalf of 25eight today. Samantha Hurley and I started the company quite a few years ago now. Transitioned into a business education, coaching and mentoring company. And we have been supporting businesses primarily based headquarters in Australia, but actually based all over the world to help them grow in domestic and international markets. And the aspect of this as a certified B Corp ourselves was to try and help make business education, coaching and mentoring accessible to anyone, wherever they are in the world. And one of the things around this is we've seen through the thousands of people that we've worked that lots of people who run businesses, particularly startups, small businesses and medium-sized businesses, don't necessarily have a formal business education. They might have an education around their field of expertise. For example, even my own background, I started life as a telecoms engineer and did engineering for the majority of my life before moving into marketing, and then eventually did a master's in marketing myself quite later on in my career from when it started. I was actually in my 30s. But this was about adapting it to be able to do strategic marketing, strategic thinking, and applying it to my business roles. And we see this as a common theme across most business owners and business leaders, is that when it actually comes to growing a business, it's been very tricky to be able to disengage you from work and be able to actually learn things while still juggling work, life, and everything else that's in between. So when we started 25eight, it was around this idea of making the business education and the coaching, so giving you that support and mentoring and industry mentoring accessible around your life. And the whole thing about 25eight is if we can do this, it hopefully makes you feel like you've got an extra hour in a day or a day in the week. But on my personal level, when I did my master's, I actually had some real challenges. I had two small kids at the time. I did it in the UK. Well, actually, it was through Glamorgan Business School, but it involved weekend studies, actually trying to fit it around a full-time job where I used to jump on planes and travel everywhere. And it was really, really tricky. And with my actual master's, all the case studies, all the work that we did, none of it was actually related to my job. It was all like, hey, let's go and talk about Titan watches in India or things like this. And then you had to go and take it back and go, okay, well, what does this mean for my business? So as much as I was really grateful for the frameworks and tools, it was really hard to apply. So when 25eight started, we actually looked at how we could help embed the education and apply it directly to your business. And it's had a massive impact with everybody we've worked with. We've got the Trade Event Ready program, which is now through this partnership, I'll leave this into Matt, become an MBA credit. So it acts as one of the modules for some of the global MBAs that are happening across Europe. And it then means that we can start to build a pathway towards actually helping people not only with their current roles and their demand, which, for example, with the Trade Event Ready is about helping them export to international markets, but then looking about, well, once you've done that, how you can transition into actually doing a full MBA. So along this journey, actually Tal reached out and we had a chat, and then I met Matt. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And Sam and I had chats, and over the last sort of few months, we've managed to build this and actually assess our own programs. And now we're in this wonderful position where we can genuinely support people through an extended education capability, but always applying it to the business. So that was the background and why I feel this is so important. And what I'd love to do, I'll hand it back to you, Tal, but I was thinking it'd be great to hear the backstory of Ducere and how actually it works, because we've been telling our own participants and our partners about our programs, but really it's like the what happens next and how this can actually flow through with that. And also, even if you haven't been in our programs, all the great stuff that Ducere does for people across the world.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Phil. That's a great introduction. We love the work that you guys are doing, because the synergy, the values, the vision is so well aligned when you're talking about career applied and business integrated learning. And I think it's just a great pathway from 25eight into full university MBA programs, because our vision is completely in sync around career focused education. So it's just great to talk about some of the examples and the vision that we have there. I'll just go back a little step further and then kind of talk about the applied learning and how we actually deliver on that. So just in terms of the backstory, as you say, so I actually have done a number of degrees and studied at various universities, from top universities in Australia to Harvard. And when I did my first degree, I actually did law. Initially, it was the first degree I graduated. I did a law and arts degree. I graduated my law degree first. And that's going back a long time. You're a young person finishing out of high school, but you think you're doing all the right things. You're going into university. You studied hard to get into university. That's already a tough challenge. Then you get into university and you're working really hard and cramming for exams and writing assignments. And anyway, I did, pretty well. I graduated with honors, so pat myself on the back. Superstar, ready to like kill it in the real world, only to find that I started working and first day on the job realized I actually didn't know how to do a single thing. Like, I literally was useless, could not do one thing. I'd learned British going back to Glamorgan days, Phil, and your UK heritage. I was learning shipping cases from like the 1700s. And then you get into an office and the first thing, you got to do is learn how to make a coffee. And then the second thing is how to like open a client file. And it's like, what's a client file? And so you're just really ill prepared, and it's really difficult for the student, because you think that you're prepared for education and you're actually completely out of your depth and you've got to learn everything new. You're also pretty, useless from an organization's perspective. So a lot of companies, really don't want to hire graduates, because like, they don't know how to do anything. We've got to teach them from day one. So that's a real challenge. Anyway, I went off and built a couple of companies, and they were sold to public companies and whatever. And then the reason for starting Ducere was we wanted to tackle that challenge so that we could create the world's most industry relevant, career focused university degree. So students are actually getting what they thought they were getting in the first place, which is practical applied career focused education. So we're a social enterprise. I'll drill in a little bit to the education that we do in the university space. But from a social enterprise perspective, we self-fund education across 27 countries in Africa. One of only 2 female elected presidents from the African continent is the patron of our foundation. We've impacted on 800,000 students, like amazing work that we do in Africa. So we have a real mission purpose around what we do, but that's funded through the activities of our Global Business School. So the Global Business School is headquartered in the US, where I'm based, but we have operations all over the world. So we do university degrees that are accredited by universities in Australia, UK, USA, France, Italy, Spain, Africa. So in Australia, for example, it's our degrees that we design and deliver, but you get an award and you're technically getting your degree and you're technically enrolled at Torrens University, Australia. For our British degree, it's the University of East London, a British public university from the 1800s. In the US, it's Kennedy University. So we have different universities, and there's reasons why different universities are potentially of interest to different people. Everyone's different. Everyone's got different goals and reasons why they want to study. In Australia, one of the call-out amazing things about doing an Australian university degree is you get access to fee help, so you don't have to pay out of pocket. The average degree, though, just to give a bit of background in the Australian market, the average MBA at a university level in Australia is $57,800. Our MBA in Australia with Torrent is substantially less than that. It's about 1/3 less, closer to around $40,000. So that's a great advantage, and you don't have to pay out of pocket with fee help. But then we have European programs that start from around $13,000, $13,500. So it's way, way less than the average Australian university MBA. A lot of people, their perception is a European degree is actually going to be more expensive. It's not only cheaper, it's way cheaper, like 20% of the cost or 25% of the cost. It's also less classes and more streamlined. So a typical Australian MBA is 12 subjects. A typical European MBA is 6 subjects. Now, there's no right or wrong. Some people want a more in-depth program. They want to learn more broader areas. Some really just want to drill into that management theory, leadership, that executive level education, and just focus on that. So that's what we do. We have flexible entry criteria, lots of different financing and funding options. But I'm just going to show and share my screen for, I'm going to rush through because I know we're not, planning on doing a very long presentation, but I'm just going to talk about one program as an example for 5 minutes. And then Tull will have a couple of things that he wants to chat about. And of course, we're available for one-on-one, meetings and consultations, and anyone that wants to chat and investigate these programs further. So I'll just quickly share my screen, and you should see now a presentation that says MBA, Leadership and Strategy. So I'll just double check, Phil and Tull, you can see that okay? Yep, perfect. Okay, so MBA, Leadership and Strategy, a masterclass MBA. So vision I mentioned right in the middle. I'm just going to skim through a lot of this. Anyone that wants this presentation, we can send it to you in full as well. The vision is to design and deliver the world's most industry-applied university degrees that advance students' careers. That doesn't mean it's the right vision for everyone. Some people might want to do a PhD. Some people might want to go into teaching. They might want a job in a university. They want to get into academia and research. That's fine. There's a lot of other institutions that are probably better suited. Our target is people who are working professionally and they want to get a promotion, career advancement, pay rise. And it's a very, very practical focused program around that. So with that in mind, there's lots of very, very specific, real hard data and numbers around the ROI of doing an MBA and how much more money you can earn, promotions, etc. It is the single most likely way of earning more money. Of course, someone can invent something. Bill Gates didn't finish college, but obviously is pretty successful. But that's the anomaly. The most common way to get, on average, significant career advancement and increased income and earnings is through advanced degrees. So the structure of this program is 6 classes. It's 5 core subjects and 1 industry applied project. It's 100% online. There's no exams, and it's all industry tailored projects to each individual student's career and company that they're working on. So that's the structure of all of our programs, 100% online, any of our degrees. I'm just, as I say, mentioning the College to Paris Award, so our Paris Award degree. But the same structure and principles apply universally to all of our degrees. We have student support, coaching, academics that are doing live sessions. You've got asynchronous learning, so you can go into the platform 24/7 and learn anytime you like. But I really wanted to just drill in for a minute on the 2 key areas of career relevant education, touching on, Phil, what you said about relevance and your experience going to a business school, etc. And we don't like to talk too negatively about institutions, but some of this stuff is actually comical. I was speaking at an event literally 2 weeks ago in New Mexico and talking about these exact stuff, and someone came up to me afterwards and said, the only thing I learned that was practical and useful in my undergraduate degree. This is the true story at a management conference. She said, the only thing useful that I learned in all of my years at my undergraduate degree was how to parallel park my car. So the car park was always full. It was really hard to get parking. It was, great learning every day doing that. Other than that, every single class I do, I've never gone back and looked at any of the notes and textbooks or anything. None of it was really relevant. It's too academic. It's too theoretical. For us, you're learning from the most amazing people in the world. To be the best, you need to learn from the best. That's what we mean by this masterclass style of an MBA. You're learning from presidents, prime ministers, Nobel Prize winners, billionaires, entrepreneurs, the founder of Atari, the head of the CIA, 5 former heads of state from Australia alone, prime ministers from Canada, African presidents. There's no other university in the world that has that level of real world leadership, inspirational leaders, successful individuals that are teaching in a curriculum. So you can kind of see what it looks like there, hundreds of world leaders, and this is all embedded in the curriculum in the program. The second element that's really critical is the way the assessments are designed and delivered. So all of the assignments are tailored, and these are examples of tailored projects to companies that we've done work with. So if you work at Westpac Bank and someone else is working in Australia at Facebook, you can go to any university and you'll do their MBA. And you might both be told, the person at Westpac and the person at Facebook, okay, you got to write a paper on something that Australia posted 20 years ago with some merger. And both of those individuals thinking, okay, I guess I have to do this for my MBA, but not really very relevant to my day-to-day career. And so I'm doing it just because I want to get the letters and a bit of underpinning theory, but not very practical. Here, every assignment is on a strategic project. So that Westpac manager might be looking at an AI project and how they can have a faster response time to customers utilizing AI tools and what are the recommended implementations. The person at Facebook might be looking at a market strategy for a new demographic of young teenagers because they've determined that Australian teenagers are all moving en masse to TikTok and not many are signing up to Facebook. And what's the market strategy for a young audience of 12 to 15-year-olds? I'm actually making up those examples, but you get the point that the company and the manager are doing all of their assignments on things relevant to their industry. That actually has many flow-on benefits. Firstly, it overcomes the challenge of time. Everyone's busy, everyone's got families, everyone's got jobs. And then you have to do an MBA over there on the side. This is a work integrated MBA. So if you're doing an MBA and getting your MBA by working on projects that you need to do and want to do anyway in your company, it's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The other benefit is it's much more visible. You're actually showing and presenting your findings and outcomes to the company because you're solving real challenges. And then almost half of our students say that they get a promotion before they even graduate because you're solving really important projects for the company that are saving time, saving money, generating higher revenue, whatever it is. And the management and executives are like, this is amazing. Like, how are you coming up with this stuff? It's like, well, that's part of my MBA. So that's pretty much all I wanted to show. The learning management system is the fastest growing learning management system in the world. It's very intuitive and easy to use. We work with many of the largest companies in the world. Collège de Paris is all over the world. They have massive campus in Paris, but other campuses across France as well, and delivering education to students all over the world. We've won awards and recognition from all over the world. In Australia, across all major media, at conferences, we've won awards from the UK. We've been recognised by US Congress. The accreditations of our Paris partner in this situation is very thorough with global recognitions. And that's pretty much it. Invest in your future. And just in terms of entry, you either can enter through a bachelor's degree or without a bachelor's degree with 3 years of management experience. So very, very accessible, online, flexible. You can see there we're running a really big scholarship promotion for everyone coming through from 25eight. And the last thing I'll quickly say is, I think one of the coolest things, absolutely not a requirement. You can do this entirely, from your living room in your house. If you're working remotely, you could be in Whittlesea, you could be in the Northern Territory. You don't have to go anywhere, but you have the opportunity to graduate on campus, cap and gown, up on stage, getting that qualification at the end. So being able to do that in Paris or Rome or London or across any major city in Australia is pretty cool. Miami in the US, depending on which program you're doing. And so that's a pretty broad overview of just drilling into one of the programs. But the great reason to chat to Phil and the team at 25eight, to us directly, is because there's a number of programs, and then we can really understand each individual and each organization's needs and goals, and then advise on what we think is the best fit from there. So with that, I'll just hand it over to Tal for any quick comments that you want, and then we can do a wrap up conclusion with Phil.
No, perfect. I mean, well, thank you so much for going through that presentation. I know that we kind of wanted to keep this quite short, so it did seem a little bit rushed, but definitely feel free, you know, if you want to kind of have a more in-depth understanding and kind of a walkthrough, I'm more than happy to jump on a call. Definitely kind of get in touch with myself or Phil, and we can go through, just like Matt said, any of the other programs that we do offer. Now, again, I know we wanted to keep this nice and short, which I believe we've, you know, kept pretty good. So I want to hold you guys much longer. So I'll let Phil add anything in if there's anything left. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say, Matt, it's such a great story about how Ducere has come about and the impact you're having and the foundation. And it's so funny while I'm reflecting on this, you know, the one thing about my master's was I did get a promotion while I was doing it to a global marketing role. And one of the reasons why was that the head of the global customer business team said I was leaning in and actually trying to build my education. So there is no doubt that you can actually get further in your career by actually growing your education and showing that you want to learn more. And as much as it wasn't directly related to my business, it definitely helped. So I agree 100%. The other thing is about that industry applied. You know, I think about the industries that we're supporting through our programs. It includes defense. We're doing stuff on health, climate and clean energy. We've got technology, agriculture and ag tech, cybersecurity, you know, advanced manufacturing. These, everything related to industries. Again, I totally agree. And I think that's why there's this lovely balance with it, is that you have industry applied education, helping people grow. It's for the betterment of Australia as well as globally, that we can actually support people and apply it to what they're doing. So it just feels really good. And I'm genuinely so happy, I know Sam's the same, that this has happened. And it's just a start, you know, as we're building our programs and our business expansion and our accelerators, you can just see that hopefully it will be a great pipeline to help people. So they don't have to parallel park when they're at the College de Paris picking up their MBA at the end. Wouldn't that be nice?
That is very cool. Well, thanks so much for the opportunity, Phil, and thanks, Tal, for setting up the webinar as well. And we're really excited about the collaboration and anyone that we can help to get that dream of a career progression and an MBA. We want to support that 100%. But also keep in mind your education is always helping others to get an education as well, because that impact through the foundation, you know, is really changing lives. So yeah, we're excited and we're here for anyone that, you know, wants to talk further.
Amazing. Perfect. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks, Matt and Phil, for joining us. This will also get sent to everyone if they do want to go into it a bit more in depth. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks,
Tal.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Matt. Cheers.
Cheers.